Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again, MJS Coaching Football. My background, this is my 38th year coaching football. I've either been a defensive, offensive, or special teams coordinator, as well as a head coach at both the collegiate and high school levels. So in this presentation, I wanted to talk to you about one of our plug family blitzes that involves only the outside linebacker. So again, one of the beautiful aspects of the 3-4 is the offense has to figure out who the fourth rusher is or who's blitzing right after the ball is snapped. If you disguise properly, it's very, very difficult. So in this particular blitz, it's called rodeo. So rodeo are rover. Right, again, not overly complicated, not meant to be. And if the rover doesn't know who he is, oh boy, right? So because this is a left rip example, again, I try and keep the formation examples the exact same. I think it's easier for teaching purposes, and we do the same with our players. The rover is left. So in some ways, this is somewhat similar to Mars in another presentation in the plug family. See the playlist. Again, 3 defensive linemen are in green because if this were a pass, this is a 4-man pressure, the 3D lineman and the rover, 4. Okay. The 2 involved in the pressure, the blitz, have arrows, and then the stud doesn't. But if it's pass, getting after the Q. The rover is second because the defensive end is first. This is just the 2 of them. Okay. So the end in this case to the call, right? Lucky, is going to slant and penetrate in the C gap. Nose goes to the call, slant and penetrate the A gap. So I can't do it in the huddle, but the rover deepens slightly so they can step on the heel of the defensive end and get up into the B gap. Now, real quick. It's a real quick exchange, okay? So they step with their inside foot, rip with the outside arm as they're going, copping the fields, we say real tight through the butt of the defensive end. It's a real fast exchange, okay? And then everything else is not any different. Trio, we spin the safeties post-snap, so after the snap, it's still a sky. So again, we got A, B, C, so that ball should be spilled out to the safety. As the safety screws down the snap, he's reading surface to tight end. So if the surface is showing pass, he's hot on the tight end. Okay, again, not meant to be complicated. It's a lucky, so it's a Louis call, right, for our safeties. Again, a previous presentation, right, make sure they're spinning in the same direction, and then it's going to be orbit away from the call. Something that we do in all of our pressures, but I haven't necessarily made it a coaching point up to now, is you got to make sure you coach up your inside linebackers how any type of movement, whether it's just simply a line stunt or it's a blitz, okay, or both, how it affects their gap responsibilities. All right. So in the case, we're not base 50 front. The inside linebacker opposite the call, there's no change. You're still a 51. He's the B gap, you're the C gap, right? Nothing changes. The nose is letting you know that you're going to stay in your A gap. So you got your A, your C, right? Boom, done. Excuse me. However, sorry about that. The inside linebacker on the call side, so it should usually be the Mike. Against 11 personnel, it will be the Mike or 21. They're now in what we call a 71 technique, right? 1, 3, 5, right? So we've got somebody in the 1, 3, and the 5 gap. So now your Mike linebacker tight scrape into what we call the 7. Okay, right outside the tight end. So you'd be right outside the tight end and inside the force defender. Okay, so that gives us 5 guys to cover 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps and get to contain. That's +1. That's pretty good. But you got to coach your guys on that and make sure they understand. Okay? So the reason we would run this, it's a nice change up to 1 back power inside zone. If it was a 2 back set, I've used this before for both 2 back power but also ISO. or split zone. It's a nice changeup, and then usually one of these penetrators comes clean, and it frees up our inside linebacker because they only got three. Add the center as a fourth, and we still got them outnumbered with the force defender coming down. We got five again, +1. Okay. The complement to Rodeo, which is the rover, is Lasso, which is the dime. Remember the alignment of previous presentation, right? Even, addition, rover's right, doesn't have to be L, it means dime's left. Our rodeo, the complement lasso, right? You use a lasso in the rodeo. That's how we use the naming to combine the two pressures, okay? So lasso's the dime, same premise. Okay, defensive end of the call, penetrating C, nose to the call, penetrating A. The dime's not going to hedge, not tipping the hand. So if he's not fast enough, right, got to get a different player. Don't run the blitz. So now he doesn't have to deepen. He's going to penetrate the B gap from the get-go, which now play side linebacker again, 71. He may not have a tight end to get outside, but he stays outside his own color, which is our rule anyway. Same color jersey, exchange outside. So there you go. Backside inside linebacker, still a 51. Still orbit away from the call, still sky to the call, except now the number 2 is detached, right? A little bit different. We utilize lasso in this case versus a one back again. It's a little change up read for a zone read look in RPO again. Okay. We don't necessarily have the A gap like we did in the bad blitz, but in another presentation, if the back were offset, he'd be making a static call, which would make him potentially, when he reads the mesh, that A-gap defender. There's a nice little tease for you. Okay? So again, this is a nice changeup. It's a simple way to mix things up. It's not complicated. In fact, we teach lasso and rodeo often on the same day we teach Mars and Bad, which is in our plug family as well. Okay? So as always, please, you have any questions at all, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com, and love to sit down and talk football with you. We'll set up a Google Meet.